So if you've been online over the past few days at all, you've probably noticed a couple people talking about Tracer in Super Smash Bros. It all started as a joke based on some random nameless 4chan post who claimed to have inside information saying that the next character would be a female character. Alongside that, she would be unrequested, meaning she's not currently in the conversation, and that led people to saying Tracer. And then something else happened. On Amazon, an official listing of a Nintendo Switch case with Overwatch branding popped up. This was actually and officially licensed by Nintendo and Blizzard. It was not some random knockoff, it wasn't an illegal copy or anything like that. It was a legitimately licensed version of a Nintendo Switch case. Now that has been since pulled from the internet, so you can't go look at the listing on Amazon again. So this clearly points to Blizzard finally getting their flagship hero shooter on the Nintendo platform. Blizzard employees in the past have said that that's something they want to happen, and now it's happening. Well, at least it looks like it's happening. This is the important part of the conversation. This is the meat of the conversation. So I won't be discussing the 4chan leak for the rest of this video because I think it's entirely irrelevant and almost definitely just fabricated. So with that in mind, what do we know? We know that we have 2 more Smash characters on the way, and based on the pattern of the Amiibo releases and the DLC releases, Banjo-Kazooie is likely releasing next month in September. Alongside him, we should be getting the reveal of our next character. Now, before we continue that line of thought, let's focus on the case. The case is being listed by a company named Power A. Power A is an accessory company. They've worked with Nintendo before in the past. They've brought you many Nintendo Switch accessories, things like controllers, cases, chargers, things like that. They're a legit company. The big thing people are focusing on about this case is the Blizzard and Nintendo licensed part, meaning that they had to work together and agree together that this was a product they were going to make. But is that even a big deal? Well, I decided to investigate. I wanted to find another example of Power A working with multiple companies at the same time to see how that's all licensed and figured out. And I actually found an example of Nintendo and Power A working with another company, and that company is Activision. They released a Spyro themed controller and case, and it's actually really nice. It looks awesome. Now, of course, we do already have Spyro announced for Nintendo Switch, but we don't have Spyro in Smash. So that should be the end of the conversation, right? Spyro has had a Power A plus Nintendo accessory, and a Spyro game is coming to Nintendo Switch, but Spyro's not featured in Smash. So obviously that means with the Overwatch case means that we're getting Overwatch on Nintendo Switch and not getting a Smash character. But I think there is something else going on here. I think there's something grander. The basic headline that's been going around is Blizzard working with Nintendo directly to license this product. But it is important to note that Blizzard has worked with Nintendo directly in the past. In fact, they have a pretty good relationship. Diablo 3 has been ported to the Nintendo Switch. It was actually a huge release on Nintendo Switch. I believe it was the 3rd most selling third-party game. And we even got a brand new Nintendo Switch designed based on Diablo 3. But here's the thing that I've noticed my peers, as in other content creators and other news outlets, haven't mentioned, and it seems like an odd thing not to mention. The only other time Power A and Nintendo has worked together on an accessory like this, specifically on the licensing side of things, is for Spyro. But what does Spyro and Overwatch have to do with each other? Well, we know that Spyro is owned by Activision, but what some of you might not know is that Blizzard Entertainment, the creators of Overwatch, are also owned by Activision. Instead of the headline reading Blizzard working with Nintendo, it should be Activision working with Nintendo. Activision is the parent company to Blizzard. Nothing major happens at Blizzard without the okay from Activision. Activision and Nintendo working together is something fairly new, and their relationship appears to be quite friendly. First, of course, we had the Diablo port for Nintendo Switch, then we had the Diablo Switch, then we had Spyro, and then we have the Spyro controller and case thing that's releasing, and now apparently Overwatch is on the way because of said case. If this says anything about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which I'm not convinced it does, but if it does say anything about that game, it says that an Activision character isn't out of the realm of possibility. As far as Activision characters go, I do think you have quite a few possibilities. You've got an Overwatch representative, a Spyro representative, and maybe even some other Blizzard representative. You also have some other things that seem less likely for various reasons. So for example, Skylanders is an Activision thing. Skylanders isn't very Smash. It's not really on that level. A Call of Duty character like Captain Price is also a thing that could happen, I guess, because it's an Activision thing. But as a business, branding yourself with Call of Duty is a really bad idea because I'm not going to say the word because it could theoretically mess with YouTube algorithm stuff, but it rhymes with Pharaohism. There's a lot of Pharaohism in Call of Duty, and brands don't like working with that. So I don't think a Call of Duty character is ever going to get in Smash, or at least not for a very long time. So if we got an Overwatch representative, I do see a few possibilities. Obviously, you've got Tracer. I'll argue against this one because it seems to be the popular take right now. She seems very difficult to adapt to Smash, right? She only has 3 moves in Overwatch, and they don't translate very well into a platform fighter. I know a lot of people think she is the main character or something of Overwatch, but the Overwatch story doesn't really work like that. So while she almost is definitely the front runner, she's not really the front runner in the same sense that like Spyro would be the front runner for Spyro. For example, Diva feels as likely as Tracer to me. She's moved into a semi-mascot role, she's heavily used in the marketing, and she is literally a gamer. The character has a ton of references to video games and video game culture, and what's more Smash Ultimate than that? Then you've got a character like Winston, who's the leader of the Overwatch, who again fills that mascot role pretty heavily. He's heavily featured in the marketing, there's a lot of Winston hats and a lot of Winston t-shirts. Winston's very noticeable as the Overwatch dude. Everyone other than that seems much less likely to me, but you've always got characters like McCree, May, and Soldier 76. Again, they seem far less likely, but they're at least in the running. If we were to get a Diablo character, you could choose one of the characters to represent one of the many classes in the game, but that does seem a little unfair to the other classes who don't make it into the game. The classes can't work like Echo Fighters or anything like that, so you wouldn't be able to get that. So you would have to go for a canon character, someone like Tyrael or Diablo, the demon itself. For Spyro, of course, it would have to be Spyro. Then, of course, you have the other Blizzard characters I haven't even seen mentioned yet, and the main reason for that is because they're not really a part of console video game culture, but I'll mention them anyway. Nova and Raynor from StarCraft are a huge part of StarCraft history, and StarCraft is a huge part of competitive gaming history. Illidan and Arthas from World of Warcraft. Warcraft is a huge part of gaming history. It's just never been a part of console gaming history. I don't see a Warcraft character in Smash, at least not anytime soon. So in conclusion, if the Overwatch case for Nintendo Switch plus the coming character announcement points towards anything, it doesn't necessarily have to point to Lena Oxton. It could point towards any Activision character. I'll choose to remind you now, just in case you've forgotten, Sakurai himself has said specifically that the DLC characters have been chosen by Nintendo and not himself. And if Nintendo's the one picking the characters, it seems to make sense that they would pick companies that they're already friendly with. Persona has had games that have been released on the 3DS exclusively for a while, and then of course Persona 5 Scramble is coming to Nintendo Switch. Obviously Nintendo worked closely with Square Enix in recent history. Rare Games and Nintendo have had, let's say, history. It's been a while since they've worked together. Nintendo choosing to further their relationship with Activision and Activision Blizzard seems pretty likely to me. Now, I'm not confident when I say this because it's Smash, and if Smash is anything, it's unpredictable, but right now my prediction for the last 2 characters in this fighter pass is a Capcom representative and now an Activision representative. I would be shocked if we didn't get another Capcom character in this game. I would say it's probably going to be Dante or a Monster Hunter, and you've already heard my take on the Activision rep. I want to hear 2 things from you. Do you think we're actually going to get an Activision rep? And if we do get an Activision rep, who do you think it would be? I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I don't normally do Smash videos, so I'd appreciate your support on this one. I thought it was worth covering because I am passionate about Smash and I'm passionate about Blizzard Entertainment, so I thought since there's a rare chance where I can talk about the 2, I'd take it. Thank you so much for watching. My name has been Bilbsy, and I'll see you in the next video.